This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Listening to Right Side Patriots on the CPR Worldwide Media Network.
We the people.
And welcome to Right Side Patriots on the CPR Worldwide Media Network. We're glad you're with us this afternoon, and we've got a great show planned for you. I'm Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot, along with Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. Diane, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you today?
You know what? It's going to be a great day. We have got a packed show for you today. We've got Wild Bill for America. He's going to be coming up at the bottom of this hour. Wild Bill is at an undisclosed location in Ohio.
Yes, he is working on the campaign of John Bolton, oh dear, of John Boehner's opposition. He's working to get John Boehner out of office.
Now, when you say opposition, you don't mean the liberal opposition. You mean we're trying to primary John Boehner out with a different conservative, with a conservative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a conservative candidate, and it's a Tea Party candidate. And we need to give as much support to him in what he's doing as we can.
Well, and so we're going to be talking to Wild Bill. We're going to find out what he's up to and how things are going out there and what he hopes to get accomplished. And we've got so much more, including the 3-part series that Diane and I have done in our respective blogs on Benghazi.
Yes, and we have been getting tremendous response across the internet on it. We took simple facts that were there for everybody to see, but the mainstream media didn't want us to see them. So they put out abbreviated versions, and everybody just bought it hook, line, and sinker. But Craig and I didn't. We knew something was really wrong with what they were putting out. So we took the time to go through the 85-page Senate report. 85 pages, yes, maybe about 10 of them redacted, but we went through everything and we timelined a scenario from right before Benghazi to right after, the day after Benghazi. And I think some of those things we found out will actually blow you away.
So stand by for that. That's going to be coming up at the top of the second hour. We're going to dedicate the entire second hour of the show today to what we have discovered in Benghazi in that report, and we're gonna light your hair on fire with some of it. I guarantee it. But first of all, we've got to establish one thing, Diane. Do you have
Yes.
bugles?
I have bugles. Here they are. Hear the bag?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Hear the
yeah.
crunch?
Oh, man. Lighting up the cyber airways with bugles as we do every Wednesday afternoon. And Diane, I'll tell you what, you and the bugles have literally almost gone viral as far as CPR radio and our listeners are concerned. But there is another order of business that we have to take care of. You know as well as I do, we have our standard issue moderate Muslim intern,
Yes.
a guy we found hiding in a cave over in Tora Bora, Mohammed Hussein Obam. And at the top of every show, he brings us our hot topics. So, Mohammed, are you ready? Oh, comes our hot topics right now. Let's see what we've got here. Right at the top of the list, the plane. We've got to update people, Diane, on the search for the missing Flight 370 from Malaysia.
Yes, I mean, this is sort of the story that keeps on giving. It just doesn't go away. And the newest thing is, yes, China heard a 90 seconds of pings. And then hours later, somebody else heard pings thousands of miles away. Then someone else heard pings. There was even reports that the pings were coming from a fishing vessel. All these pings all over the place. They can't all be the black box, and they might not even be pings because whales make noise mimicking pings. And I just wish instead of them constantly concentrating on the water, they look over land. It hasn't dawned on them yet that maybe the plane is over land, or, like we said right from the beginning, it's in Iran or it's in Pakistan. But no, they have to keep looking over the water. Maybe they'll find the island that the people on Lost, got marooned on. Maybe the plane is there.
You know, I saw a photo, came across yesterday from the Mars Curiosity rover, and there was a point of light kind of out in the distant horizon. It was there 1 second and gone the next. I'm thinking that could well be the landing lights of the missing airplane. Now,
could be.
Look, Diane brought up a good point, and, we would have to talk to, somebody that really studies that field, but apparently whales tend to mimic things, and sometimes they just make noises on their own that happen to be at the exact frequency that the black box or boxes. There's actually 2 on every flight. Now, you have to understand, today is the 9th. So it's been a month and a day since the plane went missing. The batteries in the black box underwater are supposed to last approximately 1 month. Now, they could go a month and a couple of days. They could go a couple of days short of a month. But we're at 1 month and 1 day right now. So if indeed those are the black box pings that they're hearing, those things are going to fade away within the next couple of days. They won't be able to hear a thing. The other thing is whales, sometimes dolphins, will make the same noise. They'll do it at the same frequency that's the black box, and you don't think anything of it when you're picking those things up on a regular basis because normally there's not a missing airplane. But they do know that whales do that. Now, I don't know if they do it with their voice, with their blowhole. I don't know if they do it when they fart. I don't know what it is.
It's not global warming.
Well, but the thing is, it may be the black box. It may not be the black box. They're really no closer to identifying where these black boxes are. And the other thing about it is, Diane, they haven't found any debris from the airplane, not even a seat cushion.
Exactly. And certain things rise to the top. No matter how far they go down, they will still rise to the top. And that's very suspicious. This thing over the water, I really believe, is a diversion. They don't want to look on the land, or if they're looking on the land, they know where that plane is and they're not telling us. They are diverting us to the water. Every day, every couple of days, it's something new about the water. Not one report has come out about them looking over the land. The plane turned to the left where there was land. It's another cover-up.
Well,
And
imagine that. Another cover-up. Just
imagine
imagine.
that, another cover-up. I mean, we've heard all sorts of ridiculous conspiracy theories that our military has the plane, that Obama brought the plane in. I mean, there have been ridiculous things going around over the internet. But seriously, that part of the world does have mountain ranges. If the plane went down on its own, could have gone down in a mountain range.
Could have gone down in a jungle, for all we know.
Exactly. Exactly. But nobody is making an effort to look there. They keep looking in the water.
Well, and Diane makes a great point. In the water, certain things do float to the surface. They rise to the top. But here's somebody who will never rise to the top of anything. Al Sharpton is in our Hot Topics today. Al Sharpton is in the news because apparently earlier in the week there was some stuff about him being a mob informant. This guy was working with the FBI, informing on organized crime figures. And Diane, didn't it have something to do with the music industry or something?
Yeah, something to do with pirated videos and pirated music. And it kind of doesn't make sense. I mean, Sharpton is claiming he was no smoking gun. The FBI is saying he was, but can we believe anything Al Sharpton says? Or after the Benghazi fiasco, can we believe anything the FBI says?
Well, let me bring this into perspective for people, maybe just a little bit here. This story broke late last week. I think it was on Friday, maybe Saturday. And right away, Al Sharpton comes out and says, well, this is ridiculous. I was never a mob informant. You know, what are you people even talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, then the FBI came out and said, well, actually, yeah, he was a mob informant. So today, or actually yesterday now, Al Sharpton came out, and in a New York Times story today, he said that calling me a rat for wearing a wire to inform on the mob with the FBI is racist.
Oh yeah, that just gets under my skin. You know, sorry for the pun, the skin pun there. But it seems anytime anyone criticizes a black liberal political leader, supposed leader, I should say, anytime you say anything against them, even the most innocuous thing having nothing to do with anything, they turn it into the race card. It's like they carry the race card in their pocket and they pull it out at will. And you know what? We're getting tired of it.
Well, not only that, Diane, but he had to lie to play the race card. And here's the lie. He said he wasn't a mob informant. And yesterday he said, you should be calling me a hero because I was a mob informant, but calling me a rat is racist. So he's now admitted to a lie just to be able to play the race card.
Exactly. And it actually makes no sense because this man has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. After the lies he told about that Tanya Browdy rape case, I mean, this man has no credibility. Yet the media is soaking it up and covering it. And he was a mob informant. He wasn't a mob informant. Oh, we're all racist because we called him a rat. It's getting to the point of ludicrousy, and it really has to stop. It really has to stop. We don't talk about these people because of the color of their skin. We talk about them because of their politics, because of their lies.
So you're saying that it's not racist to call him a rat. So if I called a white guy a rat, that wouldn't be racist.
No, but if God forbid you called Al Sharpton a rat, you're a racist.
Well, then apparently Barack Obama
double standard.
Then apparently Barack Obama is only half a rat.
Half a rat is.
I'm just saying. Look, we've got to move on. We've got another hot topic here, Diane. I'm not even sure. I mean, really, Muhammad? Really? Diane, you're not going to believe this. Iowa Governor's Terry Branstad has signed a proclamation declaring that Iowa will have an official Muslim Appreciation Day. Oh, my God.
You know what? I'm going to go put on my burqa garbage bag, and I'm going to go running over to Iowa. I mean, the ludicrousy of this is ridiculous. The Muslim population in this country is maybe 2.7%. In Iowa, I think, Greg, you know what it is.
Diane, I looked this up. I had to look this up. The percentage of Iowans who are Muslim is 0.00397.4. 0.00397.4% of Iowans are Muslims, and their governor, Terry Branstad, has signed a proclamation they will have an official Muslim Appreciation Day.
Well, I guess, we have a lot to be thankful for that the Muslims have given this country. I mean, Craig, look at what they've given us. They gave us 9/11.
Yeah.
They've given us the previous attack in 93 against the World Trade Center.
Right.
They've made tremendous fashion statements that we Americans, we have to embrace the burqa garbage bags.
Well, and don't forget the diapers on the men's heads.
That's true. Absolutely. And the hijabs, if you don't want to wear the full garbage bag, you can just wear, a paper sack on your head, the hijab. And they've given us wonderful Sharia law, and they've given us beheadings. Remember the 2 men in New Jersey?
Yeah.
They've just given our country so much. I just don't know where to stop. I mean, Craig, come on. You know some things they've given us.
Well, Obama says they contributed to the building of our country and to our society and everything. And, I was trying to think of some of the things that they did to actually help build this country. I was thinking, well, there's the Boston Tea Party. No. They didn't do the Boston Tea Party. The Minutemen. The Minutemen were all no, the Minutemen were not Muslims. Maybe we have to scoot it, away from the revolution and more towards things that happened just a little bit later, like the Lewis and Clark expedition. Now, they had a Muslim woman wearing a burqa that was guiding them. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, that was Sacagawea, and she did not have a burqa on. The Civil War. Diane, they had to have taken part in the Civil War, right? I mean, seriously.
Seriously, I couldn't find them anywhere in the history books taking part in the Civil War.
They
or
weren't at
in
Gettysburg?
World War I. No, not in World War I either, not in World War II. Not in Vietnam. I can't find where Muslims were on the front lines protecting America.
You do realize right now, our intern, Mohammed Hussein Obama, is absolutely going out of his mind.
Well, they did, Craig, let's be honest here. They have brought Sharia law into our courts to trump our Constitution.
Yeah.
They have brought honor killings. Aren't you happy that now we have honor killings in this country?
Hey, they brought us the bacon, lettuce, and tomato. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's just the lettuce and tomato sandwich.
Yeah,
What about people that run? Wait a minute. What about people that run the 7-Elevens and New York City cab drivers? They brought that.
Yeah, they did. And they've really contributed to the traffic jams in New York City.
So we got all that going for us.
Accomplishment.
But now, look, we're making fun of Iowa here. Terry Branstad and his proclamation that they will have an official Muslim Appreciation Day. But it goes further than that, Diane. It goes all the way to the national level.
Yes, it does. We've got one sitting in the White House, complete with the prayer rugs. And from what I've heard, there's prayer rugs in the White House, prayer rugs in the limousine, prayer rugs on Air Force One. Hey, but he's helping the economy. We're bringing in prayer rugs from overseas. Doesn't that help? Aren't we contributing to their economies?
What about November, Diane? What about November and our illustrious Muslim leader? He has apparently named November as Muslim Appreciation Month.
Yeah, we're going to be celebrating all these great contributions for a whole month. I mean, can you imagine that? We don't have, let's say, Christian Appreciation Month, a Jewish Appreciation Month, a Constitution Appreciation Month, a Bill of Rights Appreciation Month. We don't have any of that, but we have a Muslim Appreciation Month. I mean, Craig, come on, we got to go start dancing in the streets here.
Good. What, did they allow that? Do the Muslims allow dancing in the street?
Oh, nope, forgot about that. They're not allowed to have music. Gee, what are we going to appreciate?
Gee whiz. You know, when you bring it up like that, there really are no great Muslim hit songs.
There's no Muslim anything except oppression, denigration, perversion, barbarism. Oh, but wait. The Quran does supply a great source of kindling.
Oh, no, you didn't say kindling in the Quran, did you?
Oh, did I do a politically incorrect thing?
Let me ask Muhammad. Muhammad, is that politically incorrect? Yeah, so go ahead and say it again.
Okay. I mean, this is what they did contribute. All the Qurans, if we ever have an energy problem where power goes out, we got a great source of kindling. We can take a match, put them in our fireplaces or our fire pits, and we'll have warmth.
I think we've sufficiently irritated our intern Mohammed Hussein Obama in the mountains and caves of Tora Bora, and you know what? I don't care. But we do have one more thing, and this one is rather serious, Diane. We do have one more hot topic, rather serious hot topic. If our listeners have been on Facebook, if they've been on social media over the last couple of days, this thing is shaping up to literally become another Ruby Ridge. And we're talking about the Bundy Ranch over in Nevada. This thing is a little bit north and east, as I understand it, of Lake Mead. And here is kind of the gist of what's going on over there. It's a cattle ranch. They have hundreds and hundreds of cattle. The Bundy family has owned this property literally since the late 1800s, around 1887, 1885, somewhere in that range. And the family, they purchased extra land. They used it to graze cattle on clear back then, all the way back then. They have made improvements on the land. They have built fences. They have managed the land. They have created watering sites on the land. They've really done a fantastic job out there. And for a long time, they worked in concert with the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. Well, it turns out the Bureau of Land Management now wants that land, and they want it bad. Now, there were a lot of other ranchers in the area. BLM has bought them all out, paying them pennies on the dollar, but they had made their lives, these other ranchers' lives, so miserable they finally sold and just got out. Well, yes. The Bundys are the last ranch standing. They're it. And now, after refusing to sell out for pennies on the dollar, the federal government, Obama's federal government, has now surrounded the ranch. And when I say surrounded, I mean with armed federal agents. Diane, there are snipers on the hilltops. Now, yes. We're not making this up. We know this for a fact because one of the Bundy's sons went out and actually was photographing the snipers on the hilltops the other day when armed federal agents came and arrested the young man for making those photographs. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can, because in addition to arresting him, anytime a cattle goes onto that land, the government actually takes the Bundy's cattle from them. They already have impounded 134 cattle
Now
They
let
have
me
no right to do that. That's stealing. Our federal government is stealing this man's livestock.
let me stop you right there, and let me just pose this question. I'm not trying to be flippant about this, but I warn you, it's going to sound like I am, but I'm really not trying to be. They're rounding up and literally locking down the Bundy's cattle for crossing over onto this extra land, but yet this federal government will not round up and lock away illegal aliens when they come across the southern border?
Exactly. It's not flippant because that's reality. That's the sad reality that we've turned into. We'll we'll go after a hardworking American citizen. By the way, this man's Mormon ancestors have been on this land way before the federal government ever got involved with it. He has rights because he was there before anything. Yet they're taking away those rights. Yet anyone can just come on in, come across our borders, jump across our fences, do whatever you want to do, and we'll give you things.
Now,
But a man that's here has everything taken away from him.
Do you think that because he is a Mormon, because the Bundy family is a Mormon family, this has anything to do with it? In other words, if he was a Muslim family, do you think they would be leaving him alone right now and creating a Bundy Appreciation Day?
Absolutely. In all seriousness, after what went on in the last election and the slamming that Mormons got and they had no business getting, I wouldn't doubt that this is some kind of payback. Because, Craig, you're right. If this had been a Muslim family, if this had been a Hispanic family, if this had been anything else family, they would have been left alone. They would have been left alone. And there's more ludicrous to this. This man's family has been on this land, like we said, for generations, yet they're bothering him. This is paramount to stopping major water projects in California over a 1-inch fish.
Well, and this is over a desert turtle. This is over a desert tortoise.
Now tell me, do cattle eat tortoise? Do the tortoise have to be so afraid of cattle that they have to take this land away?
Well, the turtles can't run that fast. We know that, and we also know they. And look, from what I've heard, the desert tortoise tastes just like chicken. But here's the thing, folks, and this is why and I don't want to kid around about this, because right now we know that there are different states' militias that are going to the Bundy Ranch. We know that the members of the Oklahoma State Militia are there. We know that a couple of other state militias are on their way there. And folks, they're not going there with ham sandwiches to pass out. These people are going there to help the Bundys defend their property.
Exactly. But you know what's even more ludicrous about this? His cattle are on a very small part of a 600,000 acre Gold Butte area. 600,000 acres. And they're concerned because his cattle cross over the line a little bit. The whole thing is insane.
It is. It's absolutely insane. We're going to keep an eye on this, folks, because this could break out, like I said, into another Ruby Ridge situation. There's armed federal agents pointing sniper rifles at the Bundy Ranch right now, even as we speak. There are armed states, militias, good, solid conservatives that believe in property rights that are heading there or are there even as we speak. This thing could get way out of hand in the next couple of days. So we're going to keep an eye on this for you. It's very, very dangerous situation at the Bundy Ranch, and we wish the Bundys and the whole family all the best, because this is a family who's done everything right. They've used their own money. They've made their own improvements on the land. They've taken care of the land as conservators of the land. And now the federal government is trying to steal it and their property, their cattle, away from them. But Diane, coming up here in just a couple of minutes after a quick break and a word from our sponsors over at City Gold, we are going to have one of our favorite people on the line. Wild Bill for America is going to join us.
Yep. Can't wait.
Stand by, folks. We'll be right back.
Citigold is an account from a global bank with over 200 years experience, offering international banking expertise across over 100 markets. Your dedicated investment consultant adds a unique personal touch to your banking experience. Complimentary lifestyle offers like Marhaba service and free global money transfers help you save on time and money. At the core of Citigold is your dedicated relationship manager, personally looking after your financial needs. Be it lifestyle privileges like golf, lounge access across the Middle East, or worldwide privileges, Citigold provides you with a rewarding experience. One card is all you need for all your Citibank accounts. As a Citigold client, you benefit from our international expertise and global reach. Citigold is more than an account. It's a personal banking service offering exceptional privileges, customer service and recognition worldwide. So wherever you are, Citigold will be with you.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
I believe that every single one of us has what it takes
to win back-to-back gold.
Ski faster than any other human.
I believe it's possible to overcome fear.
I believe
it's possible to destroy stereotypes.
To start over, to be the toughest,
the strongest,
the bravest in the world. And when we work together, we can make it all possible. That's why Citi has donated $500,000 through its Every Step of the Way program, an initiative created to help future athletes reach their full potential through sport programs that inspire us. Like figure skating in Harlem.
Like youth enrichment services. Like Team for Tomorrow.
The Team USA Stay on the Slopes initiative. Now spread the word and help decide how much of that money goes toward
offering personal support and financial assistance to Olympians in need.
Promoting the growth of hockey in the U.S.
Expanding the sport of luge into new regions.
Support for wounded service members. Join Team Citi and let's turn a world of potential into reality.
Go to citi.com/everystep and help decide where the money goes.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
listening to Right Side Patriots on the CPR Worldwide Media Network.
We, the people.
And we're back on the CPR Worldwide Media Network. Right Side Patriots, Craig Andreessen and Diane Sori. And Diane, would you like to introduce our special guest?
Yes, today we have Wild Bill for America from T-Teams USA and also from the great Wild Bill for America videos, William Finley. And I am so honored to be his partner in T-Teams USA as his national director. Hello, partner.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me back on. Thank you, Diane, for that nice intro. And America, bless God again.
Now, Bill, you are at an undisclosed location in the fine state of Ohio, and you're there for a very specific reason.
Yeah, I have been asked to come up here by Special Operations Speaks to work to get John Boehner evicted from Congress on May 6th. That's the date of the Ohio primary. And if we can get him out, that'll only be the second time in American history that the Speaker of the House has been removed by we the people. And I guarantee you, if that domino falls, the rest of them will start tumbling too. This is no time for weak leadership in the USA, and replacing Mr. Boehner is a step in the right direction.
Now, dare I say, Bill, that you have come under some pressure, let's say, from the GOP.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I have.
Well, now, see, here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. The GOP and a lot of people are saying, well, you don't want to throw him out on the primary thing. You know, you want a Republican in there. What they're not saying is that if we can primary John Boehner out of Congress, we can get a different person with an R behind their name and hopefully a good, strong conservative with an R behind their name to take his place.
Yeah, well, Diane and I were at a dinner down in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area a couple weeks ago with Ann Coulter, and we discussed this, and Ann makes some good points, and Diane as well, about being careful not to primary out our incumbents, because, the incumbent always has a better chance of winning, and if we put an unknown in Boehner's seat, that gives the Democrats a better shot at winning it. But, when my position is that we have a rhino problem in America, and if we don't clean up our rhino problem, the rhinos are going to sabotage us to the point where the Democrats will eventually win anyway. So it's a sword that cuts both ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit about the man that's running against Boehner? He's a strong Tea Party candidate.
Yeah, there's a couple of them going up against Boehner, but the one that appears to be the strongest is a young man by the name of J.D. Winteregg. He's a high school teacher with years of experience, and this guy shows no fear when confronted by the media, and man, we need some of that in Washington, D.C. The public school system is probably one of the most corrupted of our institutions, and it's one of the most important institutions. So I like the idea of having some new blood in Congress who knows the education system and who has the guts to take on the teachers' unions, the bad guys, and the liberalizing of our education system. We owe it to our kids.
Well, we owe it to our country. I mean, not only the kids, but the country, to take this country back and teach the Constitution and the difference between a democracy and a constitutional republic. These are the things that kids today are not being taught, and things that a guy like this JD that you're talking about, might be able to bring. Now, I would say if he was a kindergarten teacher, he would be more suited to dealing with the liberals in the House.
The kids in school nowadays, they don't even know who George Washington is. I think Lady Gaga gets more time in the classroom than the founding fathers do. I tell you, as Wild Bill for America, my brother and I are working to do some merchandising. And one of the first things that we're going to offer are the old-fashioned school paddles as novelty items. We're going to encourage people to send those to every teacher in America as a reminder of the days when homework got done, teachers were respected, and the classrooms were crime-free.
And imagine how bad the classrooms are going to get now with Common Core invading our school system. There was a post up on Facebook yesterday. A mother refused to let her son do a assignment. It was the pros of Islam. And he had to go through all the 5 pillars of Islam and say why they're so good. And the mother refused to let her son do it. But heaven forbid an assignment went out. What are the pros of Christianity? What are the pros of Judaism? Nope, that's not in Common Core. You're not allowed to touch it. So we need to take our educational system back, our country back. Enough of this garbage going on here already.
And I saw there was a video on the internet today of a teacher and a student involved in a fist fight in the classroom. I didn't click it. I didn't run it. I'm tired of that kind of crap. But it's just one more symptom of the liberalizing of America. It's got to come to a halt. And the only way it's going to come to a halt is if everyday Americans like us stand up and say enough is enough.
Well, and you've been doing that not only in your home state of Florida, but really all around the country, Bill. And I mean, that's what took you to Ohio was some Tea Partiers up there in Ohio said, hey, we need somebody who can kind of bring us together, somebody who can kind of show us what we need to do to help primary John Boehner out of the speaker seat and out of the Congress and get some fresh blood in there. Now, I heard that there's going to be a big rally coming up. Is that this weekend?
This weekend, the Tea Party people up here are planning a large rally at one of the parks. I guess the location's still up in the air. But they asked me what I needed, and I said about 2,000 people. And they said, hey, no problem. So I will be speaking at a park up here in the Dayton, Ohio area this Sunday. And we've been told that John Boehner is going to send some people against us. We're not sure who that's going to be. It may be law enforcement. Maybe Joe Biden's going to loan him some union thugs. We don't know.
One of our listeners just popped in and he said, please tell Wild Bill that Willie Washington says hello, and he got a Wild Bill for America hat just like yours.
Outstanding. Willie, you got to send us a picture so that we can put it on the web. Got a brand new Wild Bill for America website going up just today, as a matter of fact. Might be going up as we speak. And we're going to start putting some of our friends on the net. We'll make you famous.
Now, I want to go back to this. Willie, I'll tell you what. Willie Washington is a great listener. He's a great friend of Right Side Patriots, and just in my mind, I can tell you right now, in my mind, I can see him wearing that hat. And you're right. We got to have a photo of that. But I want to go back to this rally. Now, you said that you heard tell that some of Boehner's folks might be showing up at this thing. Are you prepared to, let's say, videotape them?
Oh, you betcha. That's our number one defense. If these guys want to come against us and shut us down, so much the better. It can only work in our favor. So we're going to win whether we get our message out or if we get videotaped being run off by Joe Biden-style thugs. So I'm not too concerned about it. But I do need Willie's help with one thing. Willie, Diane wants a pink cowboy hat, and I just cannot convince her otherwise. Please send her some words of wisdom for me.
I said I'll take a white or a black one.
But pink, Diane,
pink is just a girly thing, that's all.
I'll tell you what, we're going to be able to identify Diane easily when we all get to Gettysburg in July. She'll be the one in the pink cowboy hat with a bag of bugles.
With the bag of bugles. And don't forget, with the hair to the waist, my stiletto heels, and either tight jeans or a mini skirt. I'll be easy to spot.
Yeah, the the pink cowboy hat with the stiletto heels stuck in the mud. Yeah. And we'll get that on the website too. We'll put you up right next to Willie. Get a picture of Willie laughing at you.
Okay.
Now, folks, in case you don't know, we do have this big rally going on in Gettysburg on the battlefield the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. Diane and I are going to be there. Wild Bill is going to be there speaking. This is all being put together by another great friend of the show, Pastor Manning, out of Harlem. It's going to be a huge deal. And Pastor Manning, Bill, has promised us barbecue, a picnic.
Oh, the man speaks my language.
Well, and it's not just us that's going to get the picnic, folks. It's anybody that shows up for this rally coming up on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July. And we're going to try in the next couple of weeks to get Pastor Manning on again. But I want to let people know right now, next week, and Bill, you're going to love this. Next week, Diane, who do we have coming on as a guest?
One of my favorite people in the whole world, the first Black president of the United States, hopefully, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West.
What do you think of that, Bill?
Oh, yeah, that would be outstanding. I have yet to speak with Colonel West. We've just kind of been missing each other. I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with him.
Well, we'll clue him in. We'll tell him that you're out there looking to get in touch with him. We might even drag you into that conversation if Boehner's goons haven't arrested you or thrown you in a sewer or something there in the Dayton area. But Colonel West, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, will be our guest on Right Side Patriots next week, right in this very time slot.
And we will bring you in for that, Bill, because I want to introduce you two guys. You are two great American patriots, and you need to formally meet each other.
Thank you. I appreciate the introduction.
Well, now let's get back to Wild Bill, and let's talk about T-teams a little bit. This is where you and Diane have formed this absolutely fantastic partnership with T-teams. And how is that going? Are we building teams? Are we getting people across the country to start working to unify the Tea parties and bring this country back to the constitutional republic it's supposed to be?
T-teams is actually shaping up to be an adjunct of Tea Party chapters all over the country. We have our T-teams logo, which is the flag, the Minuteman, the Constitution, and above it all is a roaring lion, the Lion of Judah, for those who know who that is. And the T-team patch serves an important function. Recently in Florida at a Tea Party meeting, somebody asked me what we can do to make the Tea Party more effective, and I said, make them feel like they're a part of a team. Right now, it's just an ideology, a way of thinking. But, sports teams know the importance of a logo and a team name. The military knows the importance of insignia. So Tea Party members are beginning to wear the T-team patch to their meetings. And when people see that Roaring Lion logo, it sparks a conversation. And these T-team members are able to tell them that they are the special forces of the Tea Party. They're the people who are boots on the ground. They're willing to do more than just go to meetings or be keyboard warriors. They're the ones who are willing to get out and take the fight to the enemies of freedom. The Tea Party needs to be boosted up to a new level of activity, and T-Teams USA is poised to do that.
And Diane, how can people get on one of these T-teams? What do people need to do to become a part of this? This is fantastic.
Well, it's very simple. You can go to our T-Team USA Facebook page. You can go to the tteams.com websites. And there's also a new website, Daily Tea. There's many ways. You can do it through Wild Bill LLC, his Facebook page. It's not hard. Just plug in T-Teams USA. Well, and if anybody sends me any information that they would like to join, I can hook them directly in. I can add them. Bill can add them. Any one of us can actually add you to the organization.
Well, and it's not just for individuals either, is it, Bill? I mean, if you are a Tea Party, if you have a Tea Party organization and you want to learn more about how Tea Teams can help your organization in your city or in your state, you can do that too, right?
Oh, absolutely. One of our mission parameters is encouraging Tea Party chapters to strongly support their Tea Party leaders. So the leaders who want to get their people more involved and more active, I encourage them to contact us. Let's partner up. Let's take the Tea Party to the next level.
Now, Bill, I know you don't work too far in advance on the whole YouTube video thing, but what have you got out there right now, and what are you thinking about coming up for the next video?
Well, my attention was riveted today by the story of a Nevada rancher who was under siege by the federal government. His name is Cliven Bundy. His family has been ranching Nevada since the 1870s. And the Bureau of Land Management apparently listened to some of the pseudoscience environmentalists and decided that Mr. Bundy's cattle were somehow endangering an endangered turtle out there. So they have been trying to shut down Mr. Bundy's operation. Of course, being an American rancher, he stood his ground. Well, the feds are now out there, hundreds of them. His ranch is under siege. They are rounding up his cattle. The cops know that Americans are coming to defend Mr. Bundy. So they've set up, believe it or not, corrals to contain the Bundy supporters. They're calling these corrals First Amendment zones. That's where free speech will be allowed.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait just a damn minute here. They're setting up corrals and calling them First Amendment zones?
A man was arrested for videoing outside one of their designated First Amendment zones. So tomorrow's video is going to have a Wild Bill bullet of truth for the federal government, and it's this: the entire USA is a First Amendment zone.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
Absolutely true.
I don't know if I could have said that any better, and that's why Wild Bill for America is who he is and does what he does. Now, Diane and I just did a whole segment on the Bundy Ranch and what's going on out there. I had not heard of these corrals and this First Amendment zone. This is getting hideous. And Bill, there are militias, states militias groups that are heading out there right now. We know Oklahoma is on their way out there, and we know a couple other states are on their way out there. This thing could get ugly in a hurry.
It could. And if I wasn't on assignment here in Ohio, I would probably be on my way to Nevada. As of today, we were notified that federal sniper teams are setting up in the hills around the ranch. I don't know what is going to go on there, but Benghazi and the Fast and Furious scandals have demonstrated the Obama administration's willingness to let dead bodies pile up if it's politically expedient. We have got to keep this from becoming another Ruby Ridge.
Well, and let me tell you what the Bundys have said in the last 24 hours. They said that they personally are not pointing rifles at anyone. However, there are a lot of rifles being pointed at them.
Imagine that.
And it's all over a turtle. It's all over a turtle.
Bill, those turtles taste just like chicken.
Yeah.
I like beef better. That means I know whose side I'm on.
And I'm a vegetarian, but I'm still on the beef side.
Yes, I have seen Diane indulge occasionly in some conservative style protein. So there's hope for it, yeah. Don't let the pink cat fool you. She's a conservative.
You know, this situation out there in Nevada is just horrendous as far as I'm concerned. This is a family. We said this a few minutes ago. It's a family. They've owned this land since 1887. They've made the improvements on the land. They have been conservators of the land. They've used their own money, not taxpayers' money, to do it. They worked in concert with the federal government and the Bureau of Land Management for years and years and years, until the BLM suddenly decided, oh no, we want this property and we're going to take it. They ran all the other ranchers out of the area, Bill. They paid them pennies on the dollar. The Bundys, God bless them, have said, no, we're not going to take that kind of a silly offer. This land is ours. It belongs to our family, and we're not going anywhere.
One of our listeners named Danny just sent me a message in our chat room that says there are actually signs out there that read First Amendment Zone and other signs that read For the Press. They're actually cordoning off the different sides.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you anything the mainstream press is perfectly happy to sit in their corral while the conservative militias are going to tear those corrals to pieces.
Well, I got a message from one of the guys today that said, if you want to hear about this case, you need to check the British media, because the American media is apparently burying this story. I think they know how competent the Obama administration is, and they don't want to be a part of exposing his incompetence and potential bloody hands if this goes bad.
Exactly.
Boy,
exactly.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Bill, because when we were doing our Benghazi research over the last week, Diane and I found a lot of information was available on Benghazi through the British press and not through the American mainstream media.
The Obama media?
Yeah, the Obama media. Yeah, the Obama blah blah media.
Well, you two have definitely done a lot of good research on this Benghazi thing. I read your article today, connecting the dots, and that is incredibly serious. It raises questions, and I'm going to start getting out there in some videos. Mr. Boehner is going to be facing some uncomfortable questions, and if he still refuses to authorize the select committee, those questions are going to haunt him. And all the way to his brand new Florida home. Imagine that. He just bought a home in Florida. Do you think maybe he sees the writing on the wall for this primary?
Oh dear. Where in Florida did he buy this home?
Well,
do you
apparently
know?
It's right down by that Hard Rock Cafe by your house, I believe.
Oh no.
I've got a theory. I've got a theory why he's moving to Florida. The oranges are camouflage.
Ah, okay.
I'm just saying, folks.
Craig
We're
and I
gonna
hope you stay around for our next hour so you can give some input on what we're going to expose about Benghazi.
Good, good.
Can you do that,
I'll
Bill?
stay around as long as it takes to expose Boehner and to get rid of that pink cowboy hat.
Okay, I surrender on the pink cowboy hat.
Bill, stay with us. We're going to talk Benghazi coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And it's always great to have Wild Bill for America as a guest here on Right Side Patriots. Diane and I love it. He's going to be one of our most frequent guests, I can just tell you, because he has the pulse of America. And when it comes to taking this country back, you want Wild Bill on your side, and we've got him on Right Side Patriots. From here on out today, folks, it's all about Benghazi, and I've got to tell you, if you think you know everything that went on before, during, and after Benghazi, my guess is you're sadly mistaken. And Diane and I are going to fill you in on things you probably never heard before. Prepare to have your hair lit on fire. We're going to be right back after a brief break.
I believe that every single one of us has what it takes
to win back-to-back gold. Ski faster than any other human.
I believe it's possible to overcome fear.
I believe
it's possible to destroy stereotypes.
To start over, to be the toughest,
The strongest.
the bravest in the world.
and when we work together, we can make it all possible. That's why Citi has donated $500,000 through its Every Step of the Way program, an initiative created to help future athletes reach their full potential through sport programs that inspire us. Like figure skating in Harlem.
Like youth enrichment services. Like Team for Tomorrow.
The Team USA Stay on the Slopes initiative. Now spread the word and help decide how much of that money goes toward
Offering personal support and financial assistance to Olympians in need.
Promoting the growth of hockey in the U.S.
Expanding the sport of luge into new regions.
Support for wounded service members. Join Team City and let's turn a world of potential into reality.
Go to city.com/everystep and help decide where the money goes.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Patriots on the CPR Worldwide Media Network.
We, the people.
And we're back with Right Side Patriots Craig Andreessen and Diane Sori and our special guest today, Wild Bill for America. And Diane, we have got a lot to talk about in this hour. We have got Benghazi. You and I have teamed up. We've done something we've never really done before. We tag teamed 2 articles in our respective blogs, and then today we combined and wrote a single article.
Yes, and this, no more joking in this hour, because this is serious stuff, folks. The things this administration is hiding about the truth about Benghazi is not only a terrible injustice to the country itself, but it's a slap in the face to the families of Christopher Stevens, Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, and Glenn Dougherty, and they deserve answers.
Well, they deserve answers. Diane and I believe that the American people deserve answers. And what we've gotten so far has been, at best, an abbreviated, redacted version of what actually transpired leading up to the attacks in Benghazi, the attacks themselves, and what has transpired since the attacks of Benghazi. And that's why we did a 3-part series on what we know and connecting the dots regarding Benghazi.
And the funny thing is, when you look at the mainstream media version that they gave out to the public, basically all it said was Benghazi could have been prevented. It gave nothing about the details. It gave nothing of who did what. It gave nothing about the stand-down orders. It just said this could have been prevented. Well, hello, we all knew that.
But what we didn't know is what's going to stun you. Now, Bill and Diane, this report, this is the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report that came out. This came out back in the middle of January. of this year. Okay, so it's a few months old and it's been sitting out there. And like Diane said, all the mainstream media told you was, well, the report, it assesses a little bit of blame here and a little bit of blame there. But really what it says is Benghazi could have been prevented. Now, let me just take folks through a little bit about what led up to Benghazi, because if you think you know everything that was going on before Benghazi, you don't. I'm just telling you that right now, you don't. We all heard that there had been some previous attacks, not only at our consulate or what they called the mission, but also on the British and on the Red Cross. We knew that the British and the Red Cross had pulled out of Benghazi because of the problems with Al-Qaeda there. But those were the reports that we got from the mainstream media. What a lot of people don't realize, Diane and Bill, is that there weren't just that small handful of previous attacks in Benghazi. If you look at the period, the 6-month period from March until September 11th, according to the Senate Select Committee report, there were more than 20 acts of terrorism against Western entities in Benghazi. 20!
Yes, and during that time, Ambassador Stevens arrived in April. The attacks started in March. From that time that he arrived, knowing that these attacks were ongoing, instead of building up support for him, building up protection for our people in Benghazi, the government cuts back. They cuts back on it. You don't need it. You don't need it. And these attacks are going on. 20 of them. And our government cuts back security. It makes no sense. Why did they cut back security? And we'll get into that in a little bit.
Well, and let me take you a little bit further here. According to this report that came from the Senate Intelligence Committee, there were multiple agencies that were producing reports and that were producing presentations about the deteriorating situation in Benghazi. On June 12th, 2012, a defense intelligence agency produced a report. Okay? On June 18th, 2012, the Pentagon's Joint Staff produced a slide in its daily intelligence report about the terrorism conditions in Benghazi becoming what they called, quote, ripe for more attacks, terrorist safe havens in Libya, unquote. All right? July 2nd, 2012, the Defense Intelligence Agency again produced a report that discussed the founding of Ansar al-Sharia. Now, that is important because Ansar al-Sharia is it's the Libyan version of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda actually set up Ansar al-Sharia, and Ansar al-Sharia eventually was hired by the United States State Department to provide quote-unquote security at our mission in Benghazi. Again, on July 6th, 2012, the CIA produced a report entitled, quote, Libya, Al-Qaeda establishing sanctuary, unquote. All of this and more and more and more reports. Those are only the ones that we chose to place into the article. We're being
and one of the reports Craig, one of the things you said is extremely important, and I really want people to understand this. The United States government, our State Department, hired Al-Qaeda to guard our people, to guard our embassy. Our government hired the enemy, is what it boils down to. They made a deal with the enemy.
Now, who was running the State Department at that time that allowed such a thing?
Well, that would be the pantsuited Hillary Clinton.
Doesn't matter, Clinton.
Yep.
What a coincidence.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I mean, it's amazing. Let me just run down the dates really quickly here of some of these previous attacks so you get the idea. March 18th, 2012, March 22nd, 2012, April 2nd, 2012, April 6th, 2012, April 10th, 2012, April 26th, 2012, April 27th, 2012, May 22nd, 2012, May 28th, 2012, June 6th, 2012, June 8th, 2012, June 11th, 2012, June 12th, 2012, June 18th, July 29th, July 30th, July 31st, August 5th, August 9th, August 20th. The list goes on. Those are all attacks leading up to the September 11th attacks that killed our ambassador, Chris Stevens, one of his people, Sean Smith, and 2 former Navy SEALs, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods.
And our people were protected by the enemy. Isn't that a happy thought? Our government cut deals with the enemy. Now that in itself is aiding and abetting. That is grounds for treason, folks.
It is. Now, before I turn this over to Diane for part 2, let me just wrap up this part 1. And if you want to see it, you can go to either the National Patriot or to Diane's thepatriotfactor.blogspot.com. The National Patriot is thenationalpatriot.com. But get this, Bill, this is going to light your hair on fire. Now, Diane brought it up. We know that our State Department was drawing down our own security in Benghazi and replacing them with the enemy, Ansar al-Sharia, correct?
Right.
Now, did you realize at that same time, over those same months, that we were drawing it down at the mission in Benghazi, the CIA at the annex 1 mile away that also came under attack on September 11th was upgrading their security? This is why Diane and I believe that the CIA was complicit in a gun-running scandal, a gun-running black covert operation, taking weapons from the Libyan quote-unquote rebels, that's Al-Qaeda, sending them through the mission in Benghazi into the hands of Turkish diplomats who then were turning them over to Al-Qaeda quote-unquote rebels in Syria. The CIA at their annex 1 mile away was beefing up their security while Hillary Clinton and the State Department was drawing down the diplomatic security. It's absolutely outrageous.
And the one thing that I have said since day one, yes, Hillary was part of this. This was orchestrated by Barack Hussein Obama. I believe that with every fiber of my being, because this man is a traitor to everything this country stands for. It's my belief. I'm not saying it's fact, but it's my belief that this man orchestrated Benghazi. And why did he orchestrate Benghazi? Because Christopher Stevens found out what was going on, was going to expose him, and Christopher Stevens was a targeted kill. Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods were collateral damage. Obama didn't care about them. Hillary didn't care about them. As long as they were able to stop Christopher Stevens from going public with what he found out.
Now, Diane,
that was the main thing.
Diane, I want you to take us through what you wrote as part 2 of this 3-part series. And this is what was taking place actually during the attacks, correct?
Correct. Well, let me preface it a little bit. I believe that Christopher Stevens, sensing that he was in danger, knowing he was not going to get any help from Hillary, he sent at least three letters that we know of asking for help, that he needed more security. They were either unanswered or turned down completely. So here he was, knowing he was going to be in trouble, some way in trouble. The information that he had gathered under while he was there about what was going on in Benghazi, I believe he kept a record of. He was a consummate professional. He would document his facts. He might have even had photographs of what was going on. We don't know. But the smart man that he was, he would have tried to courier out what he knew, whether with an actual courier or more likely through the internet, through emails. He would have gathered up all his things and sent those documents out. Now, he was also smart enough to know you don't send to one person. He probably sent to quite a few people. And one of those people, and we'll get into that in our the bottom of the hour segment, one of those people we believe was a Republican. His side, and Christopher Stevens was a liberal Democrat, but his side was not helping him. They were not coming to his aid. So he would have to turn to the other side, and he got stabbed in the back, we believe, by the other side as well.
Now, Diana, I want to take you inside your article, because this is one of those discoveries that we made while reading through the timeline of this, and this hit Diane like a ton of bricks the other day, and she came running back to her house. She called me up immediately and said, "You're not going to believe this." When those attacks were occurring, there is something in the timeline about the discovery of Sean Smith in his body inside that mission building, Diane. Let's talk about that a little bit. Tell people what you found.
Okay, at 10:25 p.m. Libyan time, a 6-person force of Americans with 40 supposedly friendly militiamen began fighting their way through the compound from the now known to be CIA facility, or what they call the Annex, which was a mile away. At 10:50 p.m., the message, "Firing has stopped," was sent to Washington, and 5 DSS agents went back to the safe haven through the escape hatch, finding the body of Sean Smith, but Ambassador Stevens was missing.
Okay, now stop right there. What time was it that they found Smith and Ambassador Stevens was missing? What time?
That was at 10:50 p.m. Libyan time.
Okay, 10:50. Now, continue.
Okay, now, well, there's another part in there that's really not important to this particular part, but at 12:15 a.m. Libyan time, after the CIA team abandoned the consulate, crowds of local men and boys started storming the consulate. And with the fires dying down within the grounds, they found the unsecured window into the safe haven. Now listen to this. At 11 o'clock, roughly, Ambassador Stevens' body was not there. At 12:50 a.m., Ambassador Stevens was there, barely alive. And in my part of this series, I have put up the video of them dragging Stevens' body out of there while they were shouting, "Allahu Akbar." After some time, they got him out, but here's where it gets a little dicey. They took him to the Benghazi Medical Center, where he was officially pronounced dead after 90 minutes. Now, we don't know exactly, was it 90 minutes? Was it an hour? Was it really 2 hours? There's no reference to a specific time frame in the report. But the main thing is, when our own people, the DSS people, went in, he wasn't there. But suddenly, when the locals go in, there he is an hour later.
Wild Bill for America, what do you make of that?
I'm still confused on the exact details. I do recall one of the survivors testifying before Congress said that he believed they took the ambassador to the hospital as a way of luring the rest of the staff to the hospital to see him. They were afraid that it was an ambush because the hospital was controlled by Islamic terrorists. So this America deserves the Select Committee. John Boehner must sign for the Select Committee to convene. If he doesn't, then we dare not let America forget about Benghazi. This is the presidential crime of the century.
It might be the presidential crime of a couple of different centuries, the way this is shaping up. Diane, you did a remarkable job piecing together this timeline and pulling that little tidbit out, because nobody had ever talked about that. We knew that, you know, the ambush took place. We knew the attack took place. We knew that eventually Stevens' body was found. Nobody else in the media, the mainstream media, has put that together and connected those dots.
And it even gets better than that. I mean, you have to think logically for a minute here. Is it possible that the DSS agents didn't see him because smoke was obstructing the view of the room? Yeah, we thought about that, but this was a very small room. If they saw Sean Smith, they would have seen Ambassador Stevens. And isn't it odd that suddenly these locals find them? Were these locals the people that were actually doing the attack, thinking that he would have burnt up, his body would have been burnt up with the fires, but the fires went out, so they had to get him out of there? He was alive, so they took him to the hospital. There's just too many inconsistencies with what was going on there. And
like Wild Bill just said, and I think, Bill, it may have been Gregory Hicks that was talking about that possible ambush. Yes. But, in that early testimony that Gregory Hicks gave before the House committee, he did talk about that they were afraid that by, having these people carry the body of Stevens, because, look, let's face it, Benghazi, they don't have ambulances like we do. They just pick somebody up and haul them off. But by carrying him to the hospital, they would lure people out of the annex where they could then be ambushed. We don't know who those people were. Were they just residents that came out to rubberneck and see what all the ruckus was about? Were they part of Ansar al-Sharia? Were they working in concert with it? We don't know.
They were Muslims.
We know that.
That we do know. And it even gets more dicey when the time frame hits our country, when the events start going into Washington. Because remember, Obama and Hillary said they never saw this attack in real time. That's an out-and-out lie.
It is.
Totally out-and-out lie. Because the time frame for that is when the attacks started, which was 9:42 p.m. Libyan time, which was 3:40 p.m. EST time. Obama was not only informed about the attacks, he was also informed that Ambassador Stevens and other Americans were missing. In fact, at 3:59 p.m. EST, the DOD ordered unmanned surveillance aircraft, what we call the Predator drones, to reposition directly overhead the Benghazi mission, and ordered also a replacement Predator to take over when the first one had to return for refueling. What's important is they watched it in real time from the Situation Room through the drones, and they denied it. But what's even worse about it is that at 5:40 p.m., Undersecretary of State Patrick Kennedy refused to send FEST, the Marine Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team, to Libya. The man refused to send help. And at 6:06 p.m. EST, a third DOS email arrived at the White House from Ansar al-Sharia claiming responsibilities for the attacks.
Now, I want our listeners to understand something here, and Bill, I know this means something to you too. The fact that we are not making this up, folks. This is coming directly from the Senate Intelligence Report on Benghazi. These are the facts they uncovered. We're not making this up. This isn't hearsay. These are the facts as they are presented in the official Senate report. The word came down that they were under attack, came to the White House, between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We know that Patrick Kennedy, the Undersecretary of State, refused to send help, and we know what time he refused to send help. We know what time our DSS agents went into that mission building and did not find Ambassador Stevens. We know what time the locals went in and did find Ambassador Stevens. None of this makes sense. None of this has been connected in a connect-the-dots type way by mainstream media. Nobody has bothered to do this, folks. It's astounding.
But here's something even more astounding, that's going to actually blow everybody away. At 6:06, Ansar al-Sharia claimed responsibility for Benghazi.
Did you know that?
At 10 p.m.,
No.
Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama had a phone call to discuss the situation that was going on. At 10:30 p.m. EST time, knowing that al-Sharia had claimed responsibility, Hillary Clinton publicly, for the first time, quote, blamed inflammatory material posted on the internet for the violence in Benghazi. Between 10 o'clock and 10:30, the cover-up was put in place.
Now, Bill, let me ask you this. Did you realize, had you heard anywhere, that at 6:06 in the evening, Ansar al-Sharia had claimed formal responsibility for the attacks in Benghazi?
No, that's the first I've heard of it. You know, this is a Pulitzer Prize-winning story for the mainstream journalists with the courage to pursue it. I am totally baffled by this bunch of cowardly weasels.
Now,
and some of this information, Craig, it's important that the people know. 90% of it comes from that Senate report. Some of it also comes from the official British documents. The missing pieces were put together by the stuff our Senate won't even report on. And in our next half an hour, you'll see why. The Senate report has pages of redacted material in it.
Well, and let me just make this really, really clear, if I can. 6:06 in the evening is when Ansar al-Sharia claims responsibility. Roughly 10 o'clock, 4 hours later, is when Hillary and Obama begin a phone conversation, and 30 minutes after that, Hillary is officially blaming the YouTube video that nobody saw. Folks, that right there should be enough to make your hair stand up on end and burst into flames.
It's called obstruction of justice, and it is a major felony. Where is Ken Starr when we need him?
Exactly.
That is, I mean, where is anybody? Where is any investigation, full and competent investigation when we need it? Look, folks, this Senate committee report is very telling, and it was put out there, and it was soft-sold to the American public. The mainstream media won't go near it because they're in Obama's hip pocket or up somewhere where the sun don't shine when Obama sits down. I'm telling you right now, this needs to be looked into, and by people who are in a position to do something about it. Not just Diane Sorian, not just Craig Andreessen, not just our respective blogs, and not just here on Right Side Patriots. This needs official, load-bearing investigation, because all this information is out there. You just haven't been told. You heard what they wanted you to hear, and that's all you've heard. Well, we dug into it, and folks, what we found out and what we're going to tell you in the next 30 minutes is going to leave you absolutely astounded. We're going to ask Wild Bill for America, Bill Finley, to stay with us for the next half hour. We hope you will too. Diane, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back in just a couple of seconds.
Dad.
Okay.
Katy Perry is coming to town. Can we get tickets, please?
Tickets? Sure. How many?
Well, there's Hannah and Maddie and Jen and Sarah and Sarah.
Whoa, hold on. Here it comes. We can't forget about your older sister.
Thank you.
Seriously? What? I get 2 times the thank you points on each ticket. Oh, can I come? Yeah.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on entertainment and dining out with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
And we're back on Right Side Patriots. Craig Andreessen with Diane Sori and our very special guest today, Wild Bill. Bill Finley, Wild Bill for America, is joining us as we talk about Benghazi. Now, folks, we left you just a couple of minutes ago. We took you through what led up to the Benghazi attacks of September 11th, 2012. We took you through the Benghazi attacks of 2012, but the story does not end there. And this is what we discovered, Diane and I, as we were pouring through this information, literally, in some cases, staying up all night reading this information, disseminating it, trying to make some sort of sense out of all of this and connect the dots, because you haven't been told what we're about to tell you. The mainstream media won't go near what we're about to tell you. And this is what transpired after the Benghazi attacks. This is what is in a co-written article Diana and I did. We published it today in both of our blogs, exact same article, word for word, because it's that important. We need to get the word out on this. Diane, I'm going to let you start with this, because this is absolutely astounding.
Okay, should we start with the stand-down order?
Yeah, by all means.
Okay. If you people remember, everybody was claiming, oh, no, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. Well, what people don't understand is when you issue a stand-down order, there is a specific chain of command. And the one relating to Benghazi would go like this from top to bottom. The President, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the various armed services, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the various Chiefs of Staff for each military service, the commanding general for AFRICOM, and the local command structure under AFRICOM. Now, all in the command chain below Obama have denied giving such an order, including then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and Army General Martin E. Dempsey, then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Now, remember, Dempsey testified that orders were given to assist in Tripoli, but not to assist in Benghazi, but never telling who gave that order. And we just don't know who that is even today. But all in the military, all those branch chiefs have also said they gave no such order. And while AFRICOM Commander General Carter Ham did give testimony in a closed-door hearing before the House Armed Services Committee, we still do not know his testimony. But this is very important. Know this and know this well. If he had given such an order to stand down, it would have been made public for all to hear, for it would have cleared Obama. And that's especially important because everything possible is being done at that time to try and distance him from the event. So if Ham had given the order, the media would have blasted that all over the place. Now there's even a little bit more with that. But no such announcement assuming responsibility for that stand-down order has been made by General Ham, so logic would dictate he gave no such order. And remember, Panetta announced back in October 2012 that General Ham would be retiring for refusing to obey orders not to assist the U.S. personnel in Benghazi. So each thing is contradicting everything else. Now also, neither the Vice President nor the Secretary of State is in that chain of command, but the Vice President and the Secretary of State do have the authority through the President to countermand anyone below the President. And while the National Security Council and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary influence military decisions to some degree, through the National Security Act and through their advisory positions to the President, they do not have the authority to issue an actual stand-down order. That can only be done by those in the direct chain of command. Yet, Gregory Hicks, who was the deputy chief of the mission in Libya at the time of Benghazi, who testified before Congress, said that after the first attack, a security team left Tripoli for Benghazi, with 2 military personnel, and that 4 members of a special forces team in Tripoli wanted to go to Benghazi, but they were told to stand down. And no one at this point knows who gave that order to stand down. That hasn't come up. And also, there were many close by to assist Stevens and the others, including Rear Admiral Charles Goulet. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. He was commander of a Navy carrier battle group that was in range to help, including 2 Marine anti-terrorist teams based in Rota, Spain, who were ready, willing, and able to help, and also a 130-man, fully armed Marine Force recon unit on the ground in Sigonella, Sicily. All were ready to go to Benghazi to help, yet all were told to stand down. And that stand down order assured that Ambassador Stevens would die with information, and the others became collateral damage. But the bottom line is, if Secretary of Defense Panetta didn't give the order, if AFRICOM General Carter did not give that order, if General Dempsey did not give that order, if none of the main people in the chain of command gave that order, and all these people are claiming that order was given, that leaves one person and one person alone who could have given that order, and that is Barack Hussein Obama.
How about that, Bill?
That is absolutely incredible. And let me add something to it here. A few months ago, I had dinner with Tom Keith, a retired Navy Master SEAL, Master Chief, Navy SEAL, and we discussed this. And we discussed the administration's story that there just wasn't time to send help, that it would have been too late. And Master Chief Tom asked, how did they know the attack was going to end? How did they know that that attack wasn't going to spread to other personnel in the area? And that is just made my hair stand on end. How did they know that that was going to be a localized attack unless they had inside information? And if the Obama administration had inside information of a pending terrorist attack and knew the details, we are now talking treason. And I'm talking about the maximum penalty for treason as well. Giving aid and comfort to the enemy, reducing security in order to facilitate a terrorist attack on American citizens. What in the world is happening to our government? And where is the outrage of the American citizens? I'm sorry if the media is not doing their jobs because their lips are super glued to the president's rear end. That's why we have the internet and we have journalists like those right here on this radio show. If it wasn't for the internet and people like us, this story would have been buried long ago.
Well, and it gets more interesting as you go through our article that we published today, Diane and me, and you look at some of these other timelines. Bill, this is one of those things that hit me like a ton of bricks when we were writing this. We remember very well that after the attacks, it took 3 weeks, literally 20 days, for the FBI to arrive in Benghazi to start the process of the investigation. And we know by testimony that they only spent 8 hours in Benghazi once they got there after 20 days, right?
I spent more time than that on burglary investigations.
I mean, we're talking the first ambassador of the United States to be murdered on his post in over 30 years. And they get 8 hours of investigation, but they cooled their heels. This is important, folks. They cooled their heels for 20 days over in Tripoli. All right. Now remember that 20 days. Remember that 3 weeks. Now, we were told that during those 3 weeks, it was so dangerous in Benghazi that the FBI could not get in there. However, during those 20 days, starting 2 days after the attacks, The press, Western press, we're talking ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News, they were all there. They had free run of the city of Benghazi. Nobody hassled them. They were able to film their reports, file their reports, do special reports, all from the streets of Benghazi. Greg Paulcott, a great reporter over at Fox News, did a complete walkthrough of the burned out building that housed the State Department in Benghazi. They were everywhere. They even found one of the people responsible during the attacks, one of the ringleaders of the attacks, sitting at a sidewalk cafe in Benghazi, sipping a strawberry frappe of all things. But yet our FBI, it was too dangerous for them to go to Benghazi. Now then, the second day after the attack, CNN was in the Mission, inside the burned out hulk of the Mission, where Stevens and Sean Smith had been murdered by Ansar al-Sharia, Al-Qaeda by a different name, just 2 days before. And what do they find while they're in there? They find the personal journal belonging to Ambassador Christopher Stevens. They find his personal journal. They took that journal, they read through it, and then they got that journal the hell out of Benghazi within hours and had it sent on its way back to the Stevens family. Not to the FBI, who was supposedly investigating, but not in Benghazi. No, they sent it back to the family. But then they used a curious snippet from the personal journal of Ambassador Stevens in one of their CNN reports when they mentioned that Stevens had written in his journal about concerns regarding a hit list. That's a quote. Hit list is the quote. Ambassador Stevens was concerned that Al-Qaeda had come up with a hit list for Westerners in Benghazi and that he and his staff were on that hit list. Now, why, when these reporters, with their heads or their lips firmly superglued to Obama's posterior, why did they not turn that over to the FBI? Because the FBI may have investigated that, folks. That's why. They sent that right back to the family. Hillary went ballistic. The State Department went out of their minds when they found out that CNN had used that snippet in one of their special reports. But when they were asked about it, when they were asked to comment on that report about the hit list, the State Department spokesperson said, and I quote, "I have absolutely no information or reason to believe that there's any basis for that," unquote. Folks, it was in the diary. It was in the personal journal. Now it gets even more curious. Remember, when I asked you to remember those 20 days, that 3-week period, that 3 weeks corresponds directly with the exact number of days Obama and Hillary continued to spread the YouTube video being responsible ruse, the bullcrap about that video. They did that for exactly 3 weeks, the exact same 3 weeks that the FBI could not get into Benghazi. And as soon as the FBI got into Benghazi, Hillary and Obama shut the hell up on the video. Bill, what do you think?
I'm still shaking my head at an unsecured crime scene and the FBI's failure there. You know, this just is a snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It was too dangerous for the FBI to go in. Well, guess what? That 130-man Marine Corps rescue team was available to secure that crime scene. Apparently, Hillary didn't think about that. And this is something we need to be aware of because the whitewashing of Hillary Clinton has already begun. The liberal left want her to be the first female president, and they are going to cover this up however they can. Now is the time for us to push harder than ever before.
You're absolutely right, Bill. Now, before I turn this back over to Diane to wrap this part of this up, let me just tell you, and I'm going to read this directly from the Senate Intelligence Report. This is a direct quote. This committee faced significant resistance from the administration in getting access to the emails and documentation that Mr. Litt ultimately provided on February 26, 2013, and that were then made public in redacted form on May 15, 2013. This resistance was apparently based in part on executive branch concerns related to executive privilege and the deliberative process which appeared to evaporate when the emails were made public. However, it also served to exacerbate the controversy surrounding the talking points, prolonged media and public speculation, and raise questions of trust of the IC as members attempt to extract information. Bill, we're talking executive privilege, something that can only be exerted by the President of the United States when the President of the United States is directly involved in the subject matter. This tells me that Obama had full knowledge of what was going on and exerted executive privilege just as he did in Fast and Furious to cover his own ass.
We have a felon for president. We have a felon serving as attorney general. We had a felon running as Secretary of State. And the reason I call them felons is because this is felony obstruction of justice. And treason is a felony that is a maximum penalty felony. How long are we going to let these felons run this government? Is there anybody out there besides Nancy Pelosi who is gullible enough to trust Eric Holder to do an investigation? Well, I guess Joe Biden would fall for it, but anybody with an ounce of common sense knows that Eric Holder is using his position to obstruct justice, to prevent the American people from knowing the massive crimes that are being perpetrated by the man in the White House and his minions.
Diane, I'm going to turn this over to you at this point. And folks, if you're not already sitting down, grab hold of something firm, because this is going to shake you. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. This is going to shake you.
Okay, and let's start with, like Craig and I have said right from the beginning, we both believe that Ambassador Christopher Stevens was killed in a targeted kill because Obama could not let the information leak out before the election that he was involved, if not organizing, the gun and weapons running operation to the Al-Qaeda Syrian-backed rebels, the enemy. And we also believe that towards the end, Stevens realized he was betrayed and that no one from his side, from the administration, from the State Department, or Hillary herself, was going to help him. So what did Ambassador Stevens do? He reached out to the opposition. And who do we believe he reached out to? John Boehner, the Speaker of the House. This is the man that will not, under any conditions, allow the special private investigation into Benghazi. Now, we believe this for a specific reason. And Craig, would you like to play that little snippet?
Yeah, you keep telling them about this. Let me go grab that snippet because this is really something, folks. I'm telling you. Just keep telling them, Diane.
Okay. John Boehner did a interview with Laura Ingraham that has since been sort of buried.
Hang on, Diane. Somehow we have lost Diane. Let's try to get Diane back, and let me drag her back in here. Oh my goodness! Right at the very moment there she is. Diane, we lost you for a second. I'm going to have you just back up just a little bit.
Okay, where would you like me to back up to?
Okay, we were talking about John Boehner and why we believe that he is involved in this.
Okay, let me go back a little bit. Okay, we believe that John Boehner is involved in this because he did a little publicized radio interview with Laura Ingraham. And in that interview, and Craig is going to play it, he said he had heard chatter about the gun running being at the center of the Benghazi scandal, but he couldn't elaborate on it because it came from a, quote, classified source. And we believe that source that they're trying to protect is Ambassador Stevens himself.
Okay, let's take a listen. It's a very brief clip. Have a listen to this.
Mr. Speaker, Rand Paul asked a question about funneling perhaps arms from Turkey through that CIA annex to be shipped ultimately to Syrian rebels. Hillary Clinton, there's about 4 or 5 beats before she answered the question. Do you know anything about this? And have you been briefed on any possibilities? There have been news reports, a lot of military blog conversation as well about this.
I'm somewhat familiar with the chatter about this and the fact that these arms were moving toward Turkey. But most of what I know about this came from a classified source.
I heard nothing.
I really can't elaborate on it.
Okay.
No, I'm there. We had it. I got to play the last part of that over if I can find it again, because we stepped all over John Boehner there talking about the most important part. So everybody hang on here again. We're going to play this one more time, folks. One more time. This takes about 45 seconds. All right, here we go.
Mr. Speaker, Rand Paul asked a question about funneling perhaps arms from Turkey through that CIA annex to be shipped ultimately to Syrian rebels. Hillary Clinton, there's about 4 or 5 beats before she answered the question. Do you know anything about this? And have you been briefed on any possibilities? There have been news reports, a lot of military blog conversation as well about this.
I'm somewhat familiar with the chatter about this and the fact that these arms were moving toward Turkey. But most of what I know about this came from a classified source. I really can't elaborate on it.
Okay.
He says most of what he knows about this came from a classified source, but he really can't elaborate on it. Who is that classified source, Diane? Who do we believe that source to be?
Christopher Stevens himself. Now, there's other reasons for that. On September 19th, 2012, 8 days after the attack, and again on October 25th, John Boehner met with Leon Panetta. At this point in time, Boehner still kind of trusted Panetta, which was a really bad mistake, claiming it was to discuss issues like the IRS scandal and such. But come on, people. We're not that stupid. Here it was. Our embassy was just attacked. 4 Americans were killed. The Speaker of the House meets with Leon Panetta, and they didn't discuss Benghazi. No. I think they discussed Benghazi up the wazoo. And when Panetta realized that Boehner knew something, he immediately told Obama and Hillary, and they then set up a foundation to silence Boehner, to stop Boehner from okaying what we the people and the families left behind so demanded, which was an independent investigation into Benghazi. How did they silence him? Blackmail, plain and simple. Because, and this is the part that's important, it's in 2 parts. We also believe Boehner knows the others besides himself to whom Stevens sent this information, and that Obama and crew know he knows, but at this point in time, they haven't been able to break him on it. So they had to set up some kind of blackmail of sorts to keep him in check. And what did they do? It's been public knowledge that Boehner had been suspected of having an affair with Elizabeth Lyons, Vice President for Government Affairs for the American Printers Association and a D.C. lobbyist. Both have flatly denied that. But what if Obama and crew had proof that he had that affair? Remember, a sex scandal destroyed General Petraeus' career and got Billy Boy impeached, and it destroyed others as well. Now consider this along with that. Remember, what brings politicians down in D.C.? Nothing but good old-fashioned sex scandals. That seems to be what brings any of them down. And with Boehner being third in line for the presidency, a position he so wants to keep, we believe he did a tit-for-tat trade-off of silence between him and Obama. Maybe, and this is only a maybe, Boehner told Obama, You keep your DNC cronies and lapdog media out of my personal life and personal business, or else I will blow the lid off Benghazi. That's what Craig and I both believe. And everybody, you know, we're all under the impression that Boehner is a coward and a wimp with all his crybaby things and whatever. He just recently cried over Taco Bell was in the news. But remember, to get where he was, to be in the position he is, he had to do things to his opposition. He had to crush his adversaries by dirty politics. This whole crybaby routine could be just that. It could be a cover. He could very well be more cutthroat than crybaby behind closed doors. And no matter what people say about Boehner, I keep calling him Bonner for some time because it just disgusts me. But no matter what people say about Boehner, right now he is ensconced in his position as Speaker of the House, unless Bill and his people up in Ohio right now can get this man to lose his primary. He is blocking the independent investigation, he and he alone, because to go forward with the investigation would implicate him in the cover-up, and there goes his political career, and then he gets welcomed to Gitmo.
I want to get Bill Finley in here, Wild Bill for America, just one more time. Bill, does this give you any questions to be asking Boehner or his people when you see him in Ohio?
Oh, if I come face to face with Mr. Boehner, I will ask some questions, but I don't expect any more truthfulness than I would get from Hillary. But what's got me thinking is, how do we make an end run around these people that are stonewalling this? We need to find out how to get this information to a grand jury. And in order to do that, we need to have a grand jury that would have jurisdiction, perhaps in the state of one of the victims who were murdered. That may give them the authority to do a grand jury investigation. And if a grand jury of the citizens came down with a true bill, which means there's enough evidence to take it to trial, that might help force our hand.
You know, that's a great suggestion, and let's start looking into those possibilities, because we're not going to get anywhere with Eric Holder. We're not going to get anywhere with this administration or this regime. It's absolutely insane. Folks, I would invite you to please go read Diane's blogs over the last couple of days at thepatriotfactor.blogspot.com. Read my articles at thenationalpatriot.com. Read the joint article that we published today, and really familiarize yourselves with the things you never knew, because the mainstream media wouldn't tell you what was going on with Benghazi. It's an important story. That's why we have dedicated an entire hour. We're not going to let go. We told you in the last couple of weeks we were not going to let go of Benghazi, and we're not. This is what we've done for the last week, Diane and myself, and we're just scratching the surface. When you read that report, and we have the link to the report in today's article at the bottom, you're going to be absolutely amazed by what you see there. But I want to, before we go in just the few brief seconds we have left, Diane, I want to tell folks once again, I'm going to let you do it. Who is our guest coming up next week?
My second favorite person next to Wild Bill, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. Do I get to keep my job now?
Bill's nodding yes. And let me just quickly ask and find out something here real quick. Hey, Mohammed Hussein Obama, how excited are you that we've got Alan West next week? Yeah, that's what I thought. He's head over heels about the idea, or actually diaper over butt. But anyway, Wild Bill for America, Bill Finley, thank you so much. Can't thank you enough for being with us for so long today. I'll tell you what, you've got your work cut out for you in Ohio, but they could not have found a better man to do it.
Thank you very much. Even though this is a battle in Ohio, John Boehner is a national concern. If some of your listeners would like to help from their keyboards with this battle, please send me an email, bill@wildbillforamerica.com, and put Ohio in the subject line. We need some more help up here.
Diane, It's time to wrap it up for this show, but we've got a great show coming up for you next week. Look forward to more blogs. I'm Craig Andreessen from the National Patriot. She is Diane Sori from the Patriot Factor. And for everybody out there in America who loves bugles, let's take this country back. Say goodbye, Diane.
Bye.
Go find a network wants to treat me right. Y'all can take the change and stick it out of sight. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. Well, it used to be easy, get a place, build a house. Now the EPA said no, that's the home of the blue mouse. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. We're gonna use some common sense and we're gonna take back our country. Well, they've beaten to death that pole race horse. This politically correct thing has run its course. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Some good news, we're gonna take back our country. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and Bing, lots of divorces from showing them bang. Why don't you mind your own business? That's good advice. Mind your own business. Dad got it right. But if you mind your business, then you won't be minding mine. Every sign says for sale, for lease, price reduced, make an offer, please. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for some good news? We're gonna take back our country. There's no way today we could build Boulder Dam. There'd be way too many government permit scams. Don't tread on me. Don't you tread on me. Hey, are you ready for the good news? We're gonna take back this country. Hey, Barack, pack your bags, head to Chicago. Take your teleprompter with you so you'll know where to go. Don't move.